The Azure Dragon, known as Qinglong in Chinese, stands as one of the four symbols in Chinese constellation mythology, serving as the guardian of the east and representing the spring season and wood element. This celestial dragon commands 7 of the 28 lunar mansions in the eastern sky, spanning approximately 75 degrees along the celestial equator, with each mansion holding specific significance for agricultural timing and seasonal predictions. Depicted with a serpentine body covered in cyan or blue-green scales, the dragon possesses 4 legs, distinctive antler-like horns, and flowing whiskers, often shown grasping a luminous pearl in its claws. The Azure Dragon embodies yang energy and controls water and rain, making it essential to agricultural cycles throughout ancient China. In Confucian cosmology, it represents the virtue of benevolence, while in Taoist practice it influences feng shui principles for architectural orientation and spatial arrangement. Featured prominently on Tang Dynasty tomb murals dating from 618 to 907 CE, the Azure Dragon appears alongside its celestial companions, the White Tiger of the West, the Vermilion Bird of the South, and the Black Tortoise of the North. This dragon became fundamental to palace construction, with imperial buildings oriented to honor the Eastern Guardian, and its imagery permeated Chinese art, appearing on everything from bronze vessels to silk robes, establishing the foundation for dragon symbolism that would spread throughout East Asia. Yellow Dragon. The Yellow Dragon, or Qinglong, represents the supreme dragon in Chinese mythology, associated with the legendary Yellow Emperor and symbolizing the center direction, the earth element, and ultimate imperial authority. According to ancient records, this golden-scaled dragon emerged from the Yellow River, and tradition holds that the Yellow Emperor himself rode a yellow dragon to heaven around 2600 BCE after successfully unifying the Chinese tribes, though scholars note this date falls within legendary rather than verified historical periods. Distinguished by its brilliant golden yellow coloring that symbolized earth and centrality in Chinese 5-element cosmology, the yellow dragon possessed 5 claws on each foot, a feature that became exclusively reserved for emperors during later dynasties. Chinese imperial law made it treasonous for commoners to use 5-clawed yellow dragon imagery, with lesser nobility permitted only 4 or 3 claws depending on rank. The dragon robes, called longpao, worn by Qing dynasty emperors, featured exactly 9 dragons, as 9 represented the ultimate yang number in Chinese numerology. These 5 claws held deep symbolic meaning, representing the 5 cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, and center, reinforcing the emperor's position as the central axis of civilization. The Forbidden City's throne halls showcase elaborate yellow dragon designs across ceilings and pillars, while imperial seals and official edicts carry dragon imagery to convey the mandate of heaven and legitimize dynastic rule through divine association. Dragon Kings. The Dragon Kings, known as Long Wang in Chinese tradition, ruled the 4 seas surrounding China in Taoist Buddhist cosmology, functioning as weather deities with official bureaucratic ranks in the celestial hierarchy. These 4 brothers bear the names Ao Guang controlling the East Sea, Ao Qin governing the South Sea, Ao Run commanding the West Sea, and Ao Shun presiding over the North Sea, each residing in magnificent underwater crystal palaces filled with treasures including magical weapons, luminous pearls, and enchanted armor. Featured prominently in the 16th century novel Journey to the West, the Dragon Kings interact with the protagonist Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, who famously steals the Ruyi Jingu Bang, a magical staff capable of changing size, from Ao Guang's eastern palace in chapters 3 and 4. The Dragon Kings command vast armies of aquatic creatures, and minor dragon spirits can shapeshift between dragon and elderly human king forms and report directly to the Jade Emperor in Heaven's administration. During the Tang Dynasty, from 618 to 907 CE, official temples dedicated to Dragon Kings were established across China, where farmers performed elaborate rain ceremonies during droughts, offering sacrifices of pigs, incense, and paper effigies. Maritime communities along China's coasts offered their first catches and conducted rituals before voyages to gain the Dragon King's protection from storms and ensure safe passage. Each crystal palace contained specific legendary treasures documented in classical literature, and the Dragon King's control over rainfall made them central figures in agricultural societies dependent on predictable weather patterns for rice cultivation and crop survival. Yamata no Orochi. Yamata no Orochi, the 8-headed and 8-tailed serpent from Japanese mythology, appears in the Kojiki compiled in 712 CE and the Nihon Shoki, written in 720 CE, as a primordial dragon representing chaotic natural forces. This monstrous creature terrorized the Izumo province, its body so massive it stretched across 8 valleys and 8 hills, with eyes described as red like winter cherries, and cypress, and cryptomeria trees growing upon its back. Each year, Orochi demanded a virgin sacrifice from a local family until the storm god Susanoo no Mikoto, exiled from heaven for offending his sister Amaterasu, arrived and devised a plan to slay the beast. Susanoo prepared 8 giant vats of sake, a potent rice wine refined 8 times over, placing them at 8 different gates to lure the serpent. When Orochi drank from all 8 vats simultaneously with its 8 heads, the creature became intoxicated and vulnerable, allowing Susanoo to attack and dismember it with his sword. During the battle, Susanoo discovered the legendary Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the grass-cutting sword embedded within Orochi's middle tail, and this weapon became one of Japan's 3 imperial regalia, symbolizing imperial authority. Modern scholars interpret the myth as a metaphor for taming the flooding Hai River in present-day Shimane Prefecture, with some suggesting it represents ancient iron-smelting techniques or conflicts between rival clans. Though the story remains central to Shinto tradition and regional identity in Izumo. Ryujin. Ryujin, the dragon god of the sea in Japanese Shinto Buddhist tradition, rules all oceans from his magnificent underwater palace called Ryugu-jo, built from red and white coral and illuminated by glowing pearls. This deity possesses 2 magical treasures, the Kanju and Manju, jewels controlling the tides by causing waters to ebb and flow according to his will, making him essential to maritime navigation and coastal communities. Ryujin can shapeshift between a massive serpentine dragon form and the appearance of an elderly king, served by an attendant court of turtles, jellyfish, and fish, who carry out his commands throughout the ocean depths. The god features prominently in the ancient tale of Urashima Taro, where a fisherman visits the dragon palace and experiences time differently, aging 300 years upon his return to the surface world despite spending only days below. According to the Kojiki, Ryujin's daughter Toyotama Jaime married the prince Hori, making the dragon god an ancestor of the imperial family, while later legends claim Empress Jingu borrowed his tide jewels to aid in a military campaign against Korea, though historians note this account is legendary rather than historical fact. Fishermen across Japan traditionally offered their first catch to Ryujin, and shrines dedicated to him dot coastal regions, particularly in Nagasaki, where communities sought his protection for safe voyages and bountiful fishing. The timeless nature of his palace, where aging stops and reality bends, symbolizes the ocean's eternal and mysterious qualities that lie beyond human comprehension and control. Seiryu, the guardian dragon of Kiyomizu-dera Temple in Kyoto, protects the sacred Ottawa waterfall where 3 streams flow, each believed to grant different blessings to those who drink from them. This blue-green dragon represents the Japanese adaptation of the Chinese Azure Dragon concept, maintaining the cyan coloring while developing distinct associations with Buddhist worship, particularly devotion to Kannon, the goddess of mercy. Kiyomizu-dera was founded in 778 CE during the Heian period, and the 3 waterfall streams represent longevity, academic success, and romantic love, though tradition warns that drinking from all 3 streams demonstrates greed and negates the blessings entirely. Dragon imagery appears throughout the temple's architecture in ceiling paintings and carved details, and each year on April 3rd, the Seiryu Festival features an elaborate procession with an 18-meter-long dragon sculpture carried by numerous participants through Kyoto's streets. The festival preserves traditional dragon dance techniques, passed down through generations, with performers coordinating movements to create the illusion of a living, undulating creature moving through crowds of spectators. Designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, Kiyomizu-dera attracts millions of visitors annually, who come seeking Seiryu's blessings, making the temple one of Japan's most important cultural and spiritual destinations. The dragon's protective presence over the sacred water source reflects broader Japanese beliefs about dragons as guardians of natural springs, rivers, and water sources essential for agriculture and daily life throughout the archipelago. Emugi. The emugi represents a proto-dragon in Korean mythology, a giant serpent that aspires to transform into a full dragon, or yang, through centuries of spiritual cultivation and the acquisition of a mystical pearl called Yewiju. According to Korean tradition, an emugi must typically undergo 1,000 years of cultivation before earning the right to ascend to heaven and complete its transformation into a true dragon with horns, legs, and divine powers. These creatures appear as massive serpents without the complete features of dragons, lacking horns and limbs, and they can be either benevolent or malevolent depending on their individual nature and the path they choose during cultivation. Korean legends attribute the formation of the Nakdong River to a flooded valley created when a particularly dangerous emugi was slain, demonstrating their connection to geographic features and natural phenomena. The most famous emugi story involves King Munmu of Silla, who according to 7th century accounts became a dragon king, protecting Korea after his death in 681 CE, successfully completing the transformation that many emugi fail to achieve. Folktales describe emugi dwelling in waterfalls, deep mountain pools, and caves throughout Korea, waiting patiently for the celestial conditions necessary for their ascension. Some emugi remain trapped in serpent form indefinitely, having failed the transformation test or become corrupted during their cultivation period, serving as cautionary tales about incomplete spiritual development. Modern Korean culture revisited the emugi concept in the 2007 film D-War, though this interpretation differs significantly from traditional accounts found in classical Korean folklore collections. Korean Dragon Kings. The Korean Dragon Kings, known as Yongwang, adapted the Chinese Dragon King concept to rule the 4 seas surrounding the Korean peninsula: the East Sea, West Sea, South Sea, and North Sea, controlling weather patterns and maritime safety crucial to coastal communities. These dragons often represent emugi that successfully completed their transformation, ascending to positions of divine authority over ocean waters and the rain necessary for rice agriculture that sustained Korean civilization. The most celebrated dragon king in Korean tradition is King Munmu of Silla, who requested before his death in 681 CE that his remains be placed in the East Sea so he could transform into a dragon, protecting Korea from Japanese invasions. Dawangam Rock near Gyeongju marks the traditional location of King Munmu's underwater tomb, and temples like Yeongmunsa were built to honor dragon kings and seek their blessings for rain and protection. During the Joseon dynasty, which ruled from 1392 to 1897, the royal court performed official ceremonies praying for rain during droughts, while farmers across the country conducted gut, shamanic rituals led by mudang priestesses to appeal to dragon kings. Fishermen maintained the practice of offering portions of their catches at coastal altars before departures, believing the dragon kings controlled not only weather, but the abundance of fish and the safety of vessels on dangerous waters. Each sea's dragon king developed specific characteristics based on regional needs, with the East Sea Dragon particularly revered due to the Munmu legend and that coast's exposure to storms and historical threats. The Dragon King tradition shaped Korean maritime culture profoundly, influencing everything from fishing practices to national defense mythology. Bakunawa, the moon-eating dragon from Philippine Visayan mythology, explains lunar eclipses through the legend of a colossal sea serpent that periodically rises from ocean depths to devour the moon. According to pre-colonial oral traditions preserved in Cebuano, Hiligaynon, and other Visayan languages, 7 moons originally existed in the sky until Bakunawa consumed 6 of them, leaving only the current moon that the dragon continues attempting to swallow during eclipses. The creature possesses an enormous serpentine body dwelling in the deepest parts of the ocean, with a mouth large enough to engulf the moon, dragon whiskers, a red forked tongue, and according to some versions, a single pair of legs, with sharp claws, and a looped tail capable of creating devastating whirlpools. Different versions of the tale attribute varying motivations to Bakunawa. Some claim the dragon acts from jealousy of the moon's beauty, while others suggest vengeance for the death of its sister or offspring, though these variations reflect the diverse oral traditions across different Visayan islands. When lunar eclipses occurred, communities would bang pots, drums, and gongs while shouting to frighten Bakunawa into releasing the moon, a tradition that continues in some rural Philippine areas today. Bathala, the supreme deity in pre-colonial Philippine cosmology, prevents Bakunawa from completely swallowing the moon, ensuring the celestial body's eventual return and the continuation of natural cycles. Spanish colonial missionaries documented these traditions after arriving in the 16th century, providing some of the earliest written records of beliefs that had been transmitted orally for generations, though the exact pre-colonial dating remains uncertain. Naga. The Naga represents a class of semi-divine serpent beings in Hindu and Buddhist traditions across South and Southeast Asia, appearing as giant cobras, multi-headed serpents, or human serpent hybrids that guard treasures, waters, and sacred Buddhist teachings. These creatures most commonly appear in 7-headed form, called Sapta Shirsha in Sanskrit, with jewels known as mani embedded in their hoods or throats that grant magical powers including shape-shifting, weather control, and protection from poison. According to Buddhist tradition, the Naga king Mukalinda sheltered the Buddha with his hood during meditation around the 6th century BCE, while Hindu mythology describes Vasuki being used as a rope during the churning of the cosmic ocean of milk to obtain the nectar of immortality. The thousand-headed Naga Shesha, also called Ananta meaning endless, serves as the bed upon which the god Vishnu reclines between cosmic cycles, representing eternity and the foundation of existence. Naga princesses appear in Southeast Asian origin legends, with Khmer, Thai, and Lao royal dynasties claiming descent from marriages between human kings and Naga women, legitimizing their rule through divine ancestry. In the Hindu epic Mahabharata, the Naga Takshaka killed King Parikshit through a snake bite, leading to the famous snake sacrifice performed by the king's son. Architectural elements throughout Buddhist Asia feature Naga imagery, particularly the balustrades of Angkor Wat displaying Nagas with 5, 7, or 9 heads, depending on the structure's importance. These serpent deities control rainfall and water sources essential for agriculture, receiving offerings and prayers during droughts and floods, bridging Hindu and Buddhist cosmologies across multiple cultures and centuries. Vritra, the primordial serpent dragon in the Hindu Rigveda, composed around 1500 BCE, personifies drought and cosmic obstruction in what scholars consider the oldest dragon-slaying myth in Indo-European tradition. This massive serpent coiled around the cosmic waters and 7 rivers, interpreted by some scholars as the tributaries of the Indus River system, preventing their flow and causing devastating drought across the land. Described in Rigvedic hymns as footless and handless, Vritra embodied chaos as an asura, a term meaning demon or opponent of cosmic order called dharma in Sanskrit philosophy. The storm and warrior god Indra prepared for battle by consuming soma, a divine drink that granted him supernatural strength, before attacking Vritra with his vajra, a thunderbolt weapon forged by the divine craftsman Tvashtri. Rigveda hymn 1.32 describes the battle in detail, stating that when Vritra died, the waters rushed down to the ocean like fallen tree trunks, bringing life-giving monsoon rains to the parched earth. The name Vritra derives from the Sanskrit root meaning enveloper or obstructor, directly describing the dragon's role in blocking water flow and preventing seasonal rains. This victory established Indra as king of the gods in Vedic cosmology, and the myth became central to understanding the annual monsoon cycle, as requiring divine intervention and ritual reinforcement through human ceremonies. Modern interpretations suggest multiple layers of meaning: literal explanation of seasonal drought and monsoon, metaphor for river management and irrigation, astronomical symbolism, or historical memory of conflicts between settled agricultural and nomadic peoples, though the religious significance remains primary in Hindu tradition. Makara. The Makara represents an aquatic hybrid creature in Hindu and Buddhist mythology, combining features of elephants, crocodiles, fish, and serpents into a single being that serves as the Vahana, or divine vehicle, for the water god Varuna and the river goddess Ganga. This creature typically appears with an elephant's trunk, crocodilian jaws filled with sharp teeth, a scaled fish or serpent body, and a peacock tail, though variations exist across different regions and time periods throughout South and Southeast Asia. Archaeological evidence shows Makara imagery appeared as early as the Mauryan period around 300 BCE on Buddhist stupas, with prominent examples decorating the Toranas, or gateways of Sanchi Stupa and Bharhut Stupa in central India. In Hindu iconography, Varuna rides the Makara across cosmic oceans, maintaining order over all waters, while Ganga sits gracefully upon a Makara, symbolizing her role as the personification of the sacred Ganges River that flows from the Himalayas. The Makara guards thresholds and entrances to temples throughout India and Southeast Asia, its image carved in stone on doorways where it protects sacred spaces from malevolent forces seeking entry. Hindu astrology identifies the Makara with the zodiac sign Capricorn, called Makara Rashi, marking a winter month when the sun enters this constellation, according to traditional calendars. Temple fountains frequently feature Makaras spouting water from their mouths, combining practical water management with religious symbolism about the creature's control over aquatic elements. The artistic tradition spread beyond India to Java, Cambodia, and Thailand, where Kalamakara decorations became standard temple architectural elements, demonstrating the creature's cultural influence across 2 millennia and thousands of kilometers, making it one of the most enduring and widespread dragon-like figures in Asian art and religious practice. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.